My guest today has made a tremendous impact on the cabinet and component industries over his time at Lewis Cabinet Specialties in Tremonton, Utah, and then ultimately co founding and growing Almoxy, the industry leader in helping businesses sell online, automate their front offices, and accelerate their production. I consider him to be a friend and honestly a mentor to me as an entrepreneur in this industry. His insights into business, technology, AI, and the future of the industry are always interesting to hear, and I was fortunate enough to have him join me today. So let's jump in with my friend, Mr. Bobby Lewis. Well, thanks for being here, Bobby. This is going to be an awesome episode. You've always been very kind to me from the beginning. And every time in the Salt Lake area, coming to visit and chat is honestly, it's been really great, really valuable to me, the chats we've had. And so I want to say thanks
I
for
love
doing
our
that.
chats, man. They're great. It's fun.
Yeah. So thanks for being here. You've got a very inspiring story, your whole family really. And some of the things you've done, most people will know you from Almoxy, which we'll talk about quite a bit. But I would love to hear the whole Lewis Cabinet backstory and kind of how it founded and ultimately to the point where you guys exited that, because that's ultimately where Almoxy was born, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So our history started, my dad was working at Nucor. He was living the dream. If you ever read Good to Great, it's talking about that group of people that he hired. They moved it out to Promontory because there's all these people that were hardworking farm guys. Well, dad was one of those. And so he was out there. He was actually doing really well considering the time frame, but dad just had this like entrepreneurial spirit he couldn't tame, and he had to do something about it. So,
Yeah.
so he showed up with my mom one day and he says, I quit. Like, what are you talking about? You quit? And he says, yeah, I quit. I'm starting a cabinet door shop, or I'm going to start a cabinet shop. So he started a cabinet shop in grandma's chicken coop, uh,
That's right. Yeah.
right across the street from where we grew up. And
What year was that, do you think?
let's see, I was 6, sitting there in my tidy whities when they told us about it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they sat us all down and they had this little bowl of sawdust, and they're telling us, "Okay, Dad quit Nucor, and we're gonna live off this for a while now." They were just teasing us. We're
Yeah.
all crying and stuff. But anyways, so Dad just starts this cabinet shop in Grandma's chicken coop, and quickly recognized there's this need for doors, to be a door supplier. And he enjoyed that process. He liked that part. And so he started just being an outsource manufacturer. And so
Almost right away.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty close. I think he only did like 3 or 4 kitchens, like the full kitchens before he's like, "Wait a minute. I really enjoy this part," and found a few customers and started that process. And we, now in Almoxy, we actually have a door hanging up. Have you seen it?
I don't think so.
I'll have to send you pictures of it. But there's this door, and the facility where Dad was, I actually went and stole it from the guy, and I said, "This is mine now." I tore his door out, tore the frame out, and we've got it hanging at Almoxy, and we call it arguably the first version of Almoxy because he was using it like a Rolodex, and he would write cut lists on
I
it and
see.
stuff.
It turned into a big notepad.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and there's a hole in it, and so on and so forth. And so, anyways, long story short, so over the years, we came into the business as we got older. Brady particularly was really intense about technology, saying, "No, we gotta do technology." And these are the days, just the internet's released and brand new. And he's saying everybody's gonna order online, and everyone
Wow.
laughed
So
at
he
him.
was the vision, like he could see that coming.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. People are gonna start ordering online, and we're all laughing at him. Like, at the time, we're getting faxes in and tearing the thing off the sides and whatnot, and then, of course, we're converting those into some layer of cut list, I think even handwritten at the time, and so we started the first version of Almoxy, just in the context that we hired a developer and we ended up creating the way for someone to go online and order doors. And it was a really slow launch, the adoption curve. People aren't
Hmm.
used to this process going, what are you talking about? I
What
see.
what year did that first version
Oh man,
come out? Would you say?
good heck. I don't even I actually don't know what that first version was. Almoxy really started as a company in what 2006,
Okay.
where it was its own entity essentially. We broke it out of Lewis Cabinet Specialties was the name of Dad's company, and but so we started. Yeah, I mean, arguably, that was the first version of Almoxy was that, and then we realized, wait a minute, this is a really powerful system. We started to see accelerated growth, a and especially as the internet starts to get really, people are used to ordering online, and now even more so now, everyone expects it. They demand.
Yeah.
It, I
When
expect to buy online, and I
yeah.
want to know when it's coming and how much it's going to be,
Yep.
right?
And
And
when someone doesn't have it, it's almost a shock to the system now.
Well, and in this
Yeah,
industry, it's amazing how many people still don't have
that's right.
online ordering, and we're talking 80s, 90s here, and now it's 2025, and there's still people without online ordering, and you're saying, but consumers, so they expect that. Well, we really harnessed that opportunity, but then we also were able to, all the other functions that it does in that context, where just all the automations, all the things that it eliminates. So um, slowly we just built Lewis Cabinet over the years and really engaged in the systems. I particularly love the manufacturing side of it. Just loved engaging in the machinery, the automation, theory of constraints. We dug in deep there. Really came to love it. We had a mentor by the name of Bob Fox. He was one of the co-authors of The Goal, if you've ever
Okay.
read
Yeah.
that,
Yep. Yep.
with Ellie Goldratt, and really big on throughput accounting and those principles. But through that application, so the last 9 years, we saw 30% growth annually for 9 years straight.
For
Uh,
9 years straight.
when I was the CEO, and that was a really, really fun time of just watching all these systems really sync. Um, our customers were able to self-serve, get in there, you know, and I did all of that. So we got up to where we were doing about 400 cabinet boxes a day, 1,400 doors a day with a couple hundred drawer boxes a day, all with one secretary
Crazy.
and one
That
sales
that doesn't exist anywhere else.
and one sales guy.
Yeah.
I think we scaled it to 2 right before I left. So then yeah, we went through the acquisition process. We sold to a great group out of Texas, Longwater
Hmm.
Opportunities, and they acquired the business. And I stayed on as the CEO for a year.
I
Um,
see. Was that part of the deal?
yeah, I was going to stay on probably a lot longer. I just recognized that I had this incredible software company also that I'm an owner in, and it was time to put all my eggs in this basket and build this business and scratch some other itches. We went and actually stepped away from Lewis Cabinet at the times, and you know what else do I want to do? Took a seat at Almoxy for a while, and then I ended up going and starting in a van business where we were outfitting Sprinter vans.
It's awesome. And you bought a CNC router to do that with, right?
Yeah, yeah, so we had a
Yeah.
router, and I was using, Frost CNC tooling, baby.
Heck yeah.
I I got didn't I get, like, 408 sheets out of that one
It was
bit?
some crazy
It
number, yeah.
was ridiculous, thank
Yeah.
you.
Of course, yeah, I'm
That
glad they
was
worked like that. That's awesome.
that they did.
Yeah.
Shameless plug for you, buddy. Uh,
Appreciate it, we'll take it.
that was
Um,
awesome, but yeah, the van business was interesting because we got to use a lot of those manufacturing things and whatnot. Unfortunately, the outdoor van market really took a hit,
I
and
see. Did it just get was it just get flooded? Do you think that's what it was?
There's a lot of factors all at once.
Yeah.
So COVID caused a really weird, just a crazy inflation in spike in the numbers that people were paying for vans. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So we were getting 169 grand out of this one van, this one model. That
Jeez.
exact same model a year later, I sold very at the end, barely got out of it for 118.
I see.
And
That's a
so,
huge swing.
oh, it was crazy. Just people got realistic about what they were going to pay for the vans at some point. And so all of a sudden these inflated values were gone and things started to creep up and supply chain. Long story short, again, I saw the massive opportunity at Almoxy and some things, some shifts in our sales and whatnot. You know, I was listening to Brady one day. He says, "You know what what I need in my sales org? I need a hunter. I need someone who, or not a hunter. I need a farmer. You know, I don't want a sales org that's a bunch of hunters out just like bringing in a kill
Yeah.
or a
Yep.
sell and dropping it on the desk. I want farmers. I want someone who understands this industry and I just like I think I'm the right guy.
It's
Uh,
me.
I
Yeah.
love this industry. I absolutely love it, and I love manufacturing. I love woodworking. Yeah, it's still in my blood. I still love CNCs. I still love all those things, and I would love to step into the sales role at Almoxy. So I've been doing this now for 7 months,
I see.
and I just love it. I'm
Yeah. You're glad to be back?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been remarkable. So, I feel like I mean I was a 10-year-old boy standing on a crate sanding doors. I understand it intimately. So, it is just so fun to be back in all day long. But
Yeah. You in particular have a pretty unique perspective on. I mean, because you've basically been in almost every role
yeah.
that in your own businesses, but also
Yeah.
your potential customers' businesses.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
glad that's
mean,
going well.
from the HR side to, you know, you got to wear all those hats as you grow it. Remember going from 30 employees to that 60 mark, you know, and as soon as you hit 60, and then that actually was way easier from 60 to 100.
I see. Back at Lewis, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
talking the Lewis days because my
Yeah.
gosh, you could all of a sudden you were able to scale out and actually have an HR group and or a manager and so on and so
Hmm.
forth. And so I remember that point being so interesting. And I'm actually finding a lot of my customers are kind of in that, you know, 15 employee range. And there's a lot there. And you're wearing
It's a
just a
tough range.
oh, it is a really hard range. And so I empathize with that spot and that need for, you know, the systems, which I just love. I just crave systems. Such such a geek. Hey,
But that's what it
I
takes.
like watch
And
my wife do laundry, and I'll like mention systems, and I'm like, well, wait, what am I doing? I got to be careful.
yep, yep. Keep this one to myself.
She does she has a really good system, but
Yeah. Yeah. Um, if you wouldn't mind, like taking a step back, I'm very curious about the Lewis exit. Are you
okay,
okay talking about that? Like, because
yeah,
I'm guessing that you went into it, and there wasn't much in terms of like help, resources, things you can learn from. Uh, how did that process go? I'm guessing it was a little messy and
yeah.
interesting.
It was very messy and very interesting. You know, because there really was no path. There was no like what we found was a bunch of sharks in suits is what I call them, where
Yeah, yeah.
everybody wanting to line their own pocket with a commission of some sort. So whether it was, hey, I'm going to sell you this key life insurance policy, or which is can have a great, it has its spot, but or the ESOP guy, you know, comes in and oh yeah, you guys are perfect candidates for ESOP. So but by the way, it's going to take 50,000 bucks. So we paid $50,000 for this ESOP study just to realize, wait, that's not the right fit for these two factors. Uh, and there was no one to like sit and consult and say, okay, what's the intentions of dad? What's the intentions of Brady? What about Bo? What, okay, where your head's at, and really pull it all together. But then non-bias, I guess, was the challenge. And we didn't understand a lot of factors too, like just things like tax implications. What the best strategic approach would look like.
I can imagine that gets pretty complex pretty fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Or multiples, what's a multiple? What does that mean? What is EBITDA? Why do you need to look at a multiple of EBITDA? And what does that actually mean? Um, as you're going through the process, what are the 10 steps? What are these pitfalls that you're going to run into? And understanding private equity, what are their intentions? Um, what what is their plan once they buy your business?
Hmm.
If you decide to sell with private equity. And so we started, there were all these challenges, and we kind of had to go through and do all that homework and really work through that process. That's another itch I would love to scratch someday, is using powerful technology and systems and software, clearly, to be able to help people understand how to exit, both A, what their options are, and B, how to prepare for it.
Hmm.
And then
Well, that
D,
was actually going to be my next question, because do you feel like you would have, do you feel like Lewis would have been different in the years leading up to that, knowing what you know now? Would you
you
have
know,
focused on different things, or do you feel like you know
you
what I
know,
mean?
yes and no. We went through the process, and I think we asked enough right questions, and we ended up with a fantastic group.
Hmm.
It was private equity. I wish I would have understood more clearly what private equity intentions are post sale. I think we would have asked a few more questions that way, with them. They were a very sound, really good Christian group, and I mean they handled our team well and took care of people well, which we were super impressed with. But there's that tug of war between private equity and just eking out a profit and turning it, selling that business versus building a big long-term business. But I think the most sound advice I've ever heard for anyone wanting to prepare their business for sale is d- businesses. How did he say it? Th- it was a conversation. The guy said something to the effect of, um, "Don't don't sell your business, get bought." Uh,
Interesting.
and I think that that's the best advice I would give anybody who's interested in, because the reality is everybody's going to exit their business at some point. There's going to be a transition, whether they're going to hand it off to the next generation, they're going to transition into their employees. There's a lot of options. And so knowing what those options look like and how to do it, but either way, just build a business that someone wants to buy, and don't go after those short-term wins. Make it a long-term sustainable business that somebody needs and that is going to continue whether you're there or not, no matter who is on the title of that bad boy. So that's um
And that's speaking back to that 15-person shop that's kind of in that tough spot. That's a tough thing to build, right, for a cabinet shop owner, because
yep,
they're too involved, to this, to that. To have a standalone business in that kind of 10 to 15 range is hard.
yep,
And maybe not, I'm not sure how many actually have achieved that in that range.
yep.
But yeah, that's an interesting
Well,
perspective.
and it's such an interesting game too, because like as human beings, we feel fulfillment in what we do. So I think
Hmm.
one of the biggest things people don't realize is the massive impact emotionally they're going to have after exiting. My dad was 55. uh, he had plenty of time in life left, right?
Hmm.
And he loves to crawl under a machine and so on and so forth. Well, we didn't see that. It was kind of a blind spot. All of a sudden, this business isn't his. He can't just like go crawl under this machine anymore. He's almost not welcome to. Yeah, me either, to some degree, and so it was like oh, we got to redefine ourselves. And I think that a lot of us, especially in the smaller business side, in that 15 employee range, your identity is tied up in being the man and running the show. And we actually, I think, kind of silently crave that. But the reality is you need to fire yourself. You got to show up every day and ask, "Hey, how am I going to fire myself today? How am I going to make this thing run without me?" Uh, but
which
yet still,
is which is hard to do, right?
yep,
It's hard to even ask because you walk in and there's 4 fires to put out, and
sure, yep.
the next thing you know, 4 years later, you still haven't asked the question. Yeah,
So it's so true.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah, and
um,
I think that it has to be intentional too, right? You
oh
have
yeah,
to and be thinking about that process. And that's one thing we really did well and why we were able to exit is we were very intentional about saying, how are we going to build this thing around our team, the people, the processes in a way that uh, it would be fine. It'd run fantastic if we stepped away.
yep.
So,
It's a
yeah.
great spot to be.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about some of the earlier days of Almoxy, maybe post Lewis, but um, what were some of the challenges you faced early on trying to get traction and buy-in, and uh,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know you've got a great product, you know you can help, but getting the ears and getting people to pay attention is hard. How do you
Yeah.
approach that? How did you approach that?
Well, there's a couple of things. Early on, the adoption curve was a bigger issue, right? So, it was kind of that, web-based everything, web-based platform was really foreign. And it
Hmm.
was like, wait, what are you talking about? You'd say cloud computing, or, you'd say it's in the cloud. And they're just like, I don't get it, I don't understand what you're saying. And so, but now it's like obvious, like everybody's like, well, yeah, I mean, they buy everything online, they do everything online. And so now it's like the adoption curve was tricky at first because you had to train people and educate them on what it even meant. Uh, what are you talking about? Like everything can just happen in the background. Like these automated systems just do their thing without me having to touch
Yep.
it. Like you had to
It almost sounded
educate.
like magic to some
Yeah,
people, I'm sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's not the case anymore as much. There's actually still some we have a harder time helping. Sometimes people are like, they don't haven't fully caught what automation is. Like
Hmm.
they're so used to like, well, this person does this and then this does this and so on and so forth. They haven't caught the vision of like software and its capacity to just auto do massive amounts of things without a human touching it. And and AI is coming into this game, which is, well, it's here. It's fully
Hmm.
we're implementing it in a lot of ways, but it's like it's incredible to watch. And even now, and I think we're at that spot now with AI, this adoption curve. People are just like, well, but it doesn't like I do. You're going, yeah, it doesn't. It never messes up, and
Yep.
it's ridiculous.
And
And
it's only in its infancy, and it's getting better by the second.
and it
And
is freaking
yeah.
remarkable to watch. Uh,
Can we
uh,
pivot there? Can you I know you had a summit back in March, and I'm sure AI was on the docket. Um, what where do you think AI what do you think is next for the wood industry when it comes to AI? And
This I think there's a lot. I could talk for hours here. I got to be a little careful about saying where all Moxie's headed with it exactly. But we believe in, right here on my wall it says stress less, be more. That is our mantra. And the reality with AI is it is facilitating that. Of course, our developers are hard to work. We have so much happening in this context with AI. I really wish I could peek under the hood with you and show it to you all. But stay tuned.
yeah,
It's
we'll
coming
we'll do a
quick.
follow up
There we go, deal.
when that yeah.
Because because this, I mean, the hair on my arms is standing on end. It really is remarkable what's happening. We're seeing a change, a shift. And what it means for the woodworking industry is exactly that, to stress less and be more in every way, because it it's going to allow humans to be human beings, to be sincere, to be creative, and let it do all of the things that suck. Uh, really, if you can identify something that sucks to do, that's time consuming, is just monotonous, those days are leaving. Excited too to see where this meets robotics, and that's happening at an incredible rate. So I think, I mean, the woodworking industry particularly is having a really hard time with labor. Um, I think what we've got coming on with humanoid robotics at the level it is, included with AI, and where that meets your customer's needs, which is captured via systems, it's just we're headed for, I think, the most transformative time that this industry is ever seeing. And we're also seeing a huge transition right now. I'm seeing it on all the demos I'm on and stuff. This high adoption rate of people hungry for it, ready for it, just not quite sure what to do with it. Um, we'll be speaking to that very topic an awful lot coming soon. So,
It's awesome.
yeah.
I think you're right. You just said something that I find really interesting. I've never really thought about it in that manner, but you said it's going to allow humans to be more human, uh,
Yep.
which is very different than what most people's fears are, in that it's going to dehumanize everything around us, right?
Yep.
But basically, your point is that it's going to allow the humans to be more free to do human things,
That's
the
right.
things that don't suck. That's a good perspective to have.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, this goes really deep. I remember my dad, and this is why we have that door hanging up, and why it's so significant to us and our team is uh, my dad had to work his guts out to make things happen, and I watched that as a little boy. 16 hours later and 18 hours later, dad's coming in and from the shop behind the house, and that was such a motivating force for us to build our systems, to build Almoxy, build those automations. And now, he was retired at 55 and saying, "Wow, this works." It really is about stress less, be more, let's be more human. And we are just excited about AI, excited about those mechanisms to allow us to be more human, spend more time with family, spend more time with our kids, or loved ones, or whoever, things that matter. Uh,
Well, let
so
me let me ask you this, just a slight, uh, not devil's advocate, but something that always is top of mind for me is,
yep,
um, as AI progresses and it basically becomes a part of every everyday life everywhere,
yep,
is it going to bother you, us, the general you, that you know that every email is not from the actual person whose name is on it? Is it going to bother you that the content was not written by, like, is it going to bother you that basically there's going to be no content created by humans anymore? Does it change? I guess I don't know what the question is, but that's the thing that's in my head is like, I know that half of what I read already is probably not written,
yeah,
by a human. And I'm not sure how I feel about that long term. I understand why, but to me, it's one of the slight negatives of everything becoming so much more efficient with AI is you are losing the human touch in some respect, right?
yep. Well, and, Nick, this is one of the things I love about this younger generation is their BS filter is so good. I love these kids because, I talk to my son and he'll just be like, "Oh, that's fake. That's real. That's fake." Yeah, I mean, their BS filter is just like powerful. And and so I think along with, yes, all the artificial is also going to become, we're also going to see the opposite take place where people become more genuine, more real too. You're going to have to be real and genuine or you'll just be fake.
Yep.
And so I
And
think
and blend in with all of
yep.
the
And
fakeness that's out there. Yeah.
and people will be able to sniff it, and they'll be able to sense that genuineness or not. And so I think it's also forcing the other direction to happen. So yes, there will be a lot more artificial, but you'll also see the genuine much clearer for what it is, and I love that about it.
Yeah.
I
That's a good
think
perspective.
we're gonna get a more genuine generation coming up.
Yeah.
Um,
It reminds me of just a few days ago, I sent an email to a new customer basically just saying thanks, and they never replied. And a few days later, they did reply, and they got a reply from me right away, and they said, "Man, I thought that was some automatically generated email. I didn't realize you were actually there and wrote that and meant it." And so that's what had that very top of mind. That
yeah,
idea is everyone's already looking out for, okay, this is an automated thing, and um,
yeah.
so be it.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about that is guys who know Nick Frost will know, hey, that was genuine Nick right there. That wasn't just some automated thing.
Wasn't robot Nick.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Robot
Um,
Nick.
what? So we've had a few conversations over the years about as Almoxy grew, kind of playing nice with other softwares, cabinet softwares, things that people have in their shop. Um, how did you find that process? Did you find it hard to be somewhat on the outside and needing some help and support? How did that go with various
Yeah,
things?
so as a user, I was a user of Cabinet Vision for a long time. Doing doing Lewis Cabinet, and then I found myself as a user of Mosaic as I was doing Vans,
Hmm.
and so I've had really good experience with both of those, lots of deep experience with both of them. I've produced a lot of stuff out of both of those. Um, uh, I've had a lot of experience under the hood of 2020, and I've seen Pro Kitchen a lot, and I've done a ton with SketchUp. I'm hearing all sorts of chief architect and different things
Hmm.
like that, right? So, um, Almoxy's always taken a stance of being kind of agnostic. Like, look, we don't really care we get that an order starts in design typically, right? There's some layer of design, but then these products need to be purchased. Uh, and and so we've always, and especially now with our API and those functionality, we want to play perfect with everybody. We
Hmm.
really don't care what system it is. We want to befriend. And so when someone walks in the door now and they say, "Hey, look, I'm currently using Cabinet Vision," I'm like, "Perfect, let's connect to it." They'll say, "I'm using Mosaic." Awesome, cool. My customers are designing in 2020. Great. Let's export import.
Yep.
Or let's
And so you're
automate.
now in a position where you've got the capability to get the data you need out of all of those. And
Yeah, which and there's a lot of really really cool opportunities with AI. Maybe poke under the hood a tiny bit, right?
yeah, yeah,
That are facilitating that process, and so.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to connect with and send information from and to anybody. Customer the other day said, I'm using energy. Would you like to connect to that? Fantastic, let's do it. So, yeah, what data do we need where? And so we're happy to go in and out of really anywhere as long as it's secure. As long as we're using API tokens appropriately, we're happy to do it. So. But, learning that process and going through all those different things, everybody's got different needs, and we realized pretty quick, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna need to talk to everything." So, um, some points we need to talk to CNC machines, right? So in that case, yeah, let's take what you're already talking to this CNC machine with. In other cases, it's like, "Hey, this is a door, and I just need to get my sizes to my, Tiger stop or my razor gauge." Perfect. Let's send the data right there. There's no need to use a translation in the middle there. Uh, We can. Great. What do you want to talk to? S90, Weinig? Great, let's go. We just love, we really don't mind talking to anything.
Yeah.
So
But you are using Cabinet Vision, Mosaic, whatever for post processing, right? If they are going to CNC routers,
yeah,
the
or
data is
case, yeah,
essentially going through one of
yeah,
those.
yeah, or send data to KCD and the things
Oh
that,
yeah, yep, yep,
really anybody. So yes, we're happy to send that data there. And some cases I'm talking direct to a beam saw. Other cases they want to go through, Homags,
yep. Cut right.
cut right, etc. And
Yep.
so, our goal actually is just to meet your system where you're comfortable and where you're at, and let's just send the data there.
Hmm.
And just make sure the data is there and accurate and automated. No one's having to touch it as much as possible.
Yep.
So
Well, I'll tell you what, being out of the post processor game is a good spot to be in
yeah,
because that's a lot going on there
yes,
for
there is.
for the 350 machines somebody could have.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh,
I'm happy to just send the information to those guys.
yeah, yeah,
So
that's good. Uh,
agreed.
um, let's talk about the family business aspect. What are
Okay.
the what are the good sides of having your brothers and family close, and what are the challenges?
Yeah, yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll start with the challenges. I mean, the challenges are, just that separation between work and, we can't go to a family function without
I
talking,
bet.
right?
I bet.
And the wives are like, absolutely nothing
Yeah.
today, right?
Yeah.
And early on, we learned, I was listening to a Dave Ramsey. Actually, I think it was Bo. I think Bo introduced the family to it. But it has been so extremely helpful. He basically taught us about hats. And he said, look, you got a brother hat, you got a board member hat, you got a CEO hat, so on and so forth, right? And it's very important that you clarify which hat you're speaking from. So, because we can be in the middle of I'm head of sales, right? So I'm VP of sales talking to Brady, CEO. uh, hey, I'm talking to you, and even now we'll do this, and it has been so extremely helpful because before when we didn't, that was one of the challenges. It was like, well, that was rude. But if I'll say, hey, this is VP of sales talking to CEO, like I'm wearing that hat right now. I feel this way, and I can be very blunt. I can say something, so on and so forth. Uh, this is Bobby as brother speaking to you, Brady as brother. It's a very different message, right? It's a brotherly message. And so, and typically it might even contradict itself a tiny bit, which is
Hmm.
interesting.
Oh yeah.
And so, but him understanding or Brady saying it to me or Bo to, whatever, or at the time, dad's no longer, he's a board member, but pretty disengaged in terms of the day to day, no day to day action. Um, so there's a lot less of it, but just identifying that and having those conversations. Hey, look, dude, I got my brother hat on right now, and this is how I feel about this now as the VP of sales, this is how I'm feeling. And so that's been extremely helpful for us as a family and family business. And I think the other thing that we have done well as a family is and brothers is like um we're able to forget uh some of the things. I remember one time at Lewis Cabinet, Brady and I were all but toe to toe. I still remember the customer we were talking about. And by the time we walked away, we were good. We were best friends, and just is. Uh, there just has to be an aura of forgiveness and understanding, and that's true with any business, right? And so I think sometimes people can be harder on their own family members than they are
Absolutely.
other business professionals for
I mean,
some
like
reason.
everyone. I mean, that's just kind of like human nature, right? Is the people closest to us sometimes, you know,
Yep.
get
Yep.
the hardest. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a really good perspective. I'm going to take that hats one away from this for sure because my wife may end up joining my
Sweet.
businesses at some point.
Yep.
And I'm already nervous about that part, right? Because it's like, uh, I'm not very good at separating business from everything else. It's like what I'm thinking about anyways. So
Yep.
it's a challenge. It's gonna
But
be. That's
but I
good.
think it's important to say it from both hats.
Hmm.
Like, hey, as Nic Frost, I'm the owner, I'm the CEO. Like, this is okay now. As husband, boy, this is how I feel, and you'll find yourself all of a sudden full of empathy.
Well, and I think it makes you, even as the
Yeah.
person delivering the message, stop and just think for
Yep.
half a second, right? And you kind of make sure you're saying
Yep.
the right thing under the
Yep.
right hat. Yeah,
Yep. Exactly.
that's good.
Yep.
Um, let's pivot and talk about trade shows. You guys have been a fixture at them for a long time.
I just put
Uh,
the crates on the truck yesterday, so here we go.
nice.
It's
We'll see you in
fresh
Vegas.
on the mind.
Yeah, I assume you will be there in
Yes.
Vegas.
Yes, we will
Good.
be.
We'll see you in
Yeah.
a few weeks.
Yeah. Sweet. How
What
I think we're pretty close to you too again, right?
well, so like at IWF, I actually haven't picked my booth yet for the following year. You want to know something dumb?
What?
They're not going to let tool companies be in BC anymore.
Oh, you're kidding. Why?
No, that's what I said. And I went to get that exact same spot. In fact, the person on the other side of us is not there anymore, or that company. So I was going to take the whole end cap. So it's basically just going to be you and I,
Yeah.
and they won't allow it. And that space is still open, and it's just sitting there. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It's very odd.
Interesting.
I know.
Uh,
So
well, let's
I hope
connect.
to get that to
Let's connect
get
you
them to
with
change their
Chanel. Make
mind.
sure we're close.
Yeah, yeah. But my experience at my first trade show was awesome, right? We had a huge following. But what I learned is that 90% of my conversations were with people I already knew.
Yep.
Uh, and I'm sure that's similar to you guys. Um, I'm sure early on they were very fruitful shows. Do you feel like they're still as impactful as they were back in the day, or is it a necessary evil? Like, how do you view?
This one's hard. We have gone back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on this. As I almost feel bipolar to some degree
Yeah,
in terms of
depends on the day.
how
Yeah.
I feel about shows because I mean just yesterday I got a lead that signed up from IWF 28. I mean one of the early shows,
Hmm.
early, and they're just now 2025. They're like, yeah, I've been watching you for years. Uh, I'm ready. And so those are the kinds of things that are just like, well, okay. But you're right. I mean, I was telling our team the other day, I said, in the context of the sales group, because we're saying, okay, how are we trade show prep, who's doing what, so on and so forth. And I said, well, look, guys, the reality is this is more of a user conference. Trade show is more of a user conference, an opportunity for us to all be there to listen, to hear them, to solve problems, to walk over to Cabinet Vision and say they're having this particular issue. How can we work on this, or Mosaic or whatever, and just solve things. Let's just do stuff. And these other companies are there. What a great opportunity to hear our customers and to be a part of it. So, and of course, we always do some sort of dinners and different things, and we're gonna do a little get together and whatnot. And so, watch out for that. We'd
Yeah,
love to have you there.
absolutely.
Go talk to Chanel. She'll know.
Yeah, that's
Our
I will.
marketing, she's on it.
Yeah, yeah,
But the reality is we, as we've talked it through, and this year we had a big discussion: do we go or not? Ultimately, we determined that our user base is there. We love to see them. We love to hear from them, and yes, we do pull leads. We do end up. Sometimes it's years later.
hmm.
Um,
You got to plant the seeds. And
and so, can I pencil a specific ROI that makes a lot of sense? Not usually, actually. The ROI typically isn't there quick enough, and you look at the cost and you go, ugh. Mm. Well, okay.
but
So,
to your point, if
yep,
you treat it as a users conference, which I've never heard anybody talk about them in that manner, but you're 100% right about that.
yep,
It's more
yep,
a protection of your customer base and their
yep,
investment in you, being there for them,
yep,
making sure they're happy.
yep.
It's a good way
Well,
to put it.
And we get a lot of incredible feedback at the trade shows from our
Hmm.
current users, face to face. There's something about it.
Absolutely.
You get to listen. So we will have our entire CS team there. We're gonna have uh, our engineers are gonna be there. Some of them, our implementation engineers, they're all gonna be there for sure, listening, hearing, talking, and then of course the sales group, which we're actually a pretty small sales org. We don't need a massive org. So yeah, and
How many total people does Almoxy have?
I think we're somewhere in the 30 range right now. Bo would know that. Bo and Brady would know that a lot better. So between all the our engineers and whatnot, it's, yeah. So
That's
got
good.
a lot of development.
Yeah.
All I know is there's a lot of development cost every month.
Well, clearly too, there's a lot of business going through. I was on the website earlier today, and I think I saw something like $2 billion
Yeah.
processed. Is that
Yeah,
true?
it is. That's true. There's
That's
a
crazy.
tremendous amount. And, we have most of it's going through Stripe. We're great partners, Stripe, and we've embedded Stripe in most of the systems. There's some other merchant processing solutions, and there's a lot of conversation too about that. But yeah, so we have really good data on that. There's a lot of transaction taking place there. And yeah, we have a solid 40,000 users a month at least.
Wow.
That
And that,
was a little bit ago. I'm not sure what
yeah.
today's data is. It's growing for sure.
So
Uh,
40,000
yeah,
people on Almoxy ordering something from somebody
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's a lot of traffic.
yeah,
That's cool,
yeah.
man. That's
So, well, and the other thing that really Almoxy's had, I think in the past we were really geared towards. In fact, I know we were really geared towards kind of more of the enterprise client only, but that's just not true anymore. I mean, Almoxy facilitates transactions for people buying and selling things in the woodworking space, and so we've allowed people to use depending on volume where you're at, we're okay with a much smaller, somebody who just needs to sell doors or drawer boxes or you name it. It was freaking made for that. Absolutely. And the amount
hmm
of automation it can give. So yeah, our goals to just facilitate that process, make it super easy across the board.
Well, I'll
But
tell you what, I think that's a great spot to be because, I was telling you too, like, so many small shops now see the benefit in selling MDF doors, selling
yeah,
closet components, because now software and CNCs have made it so easy for them with one or two people to cut parts and get them out their door.
that's right.
And a lot of them are looking like, okay, yeah, I can sell to my county. How do I sell to my 5 county area, the state? How do I reach these people?
Yep.
Um, how do I intake orders without adding a secretary and all of those things? And
Yep.
it sounds like, that's right up your alley, really.
That's the bread and butter, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. Well, and
that's
you got
awesome.
you have all these consumers that are demanding this experience too to just buy. They just want
Hmm.
to look. I just want to know I'm going to get what I'm going to get. I need a base 3 drawer with this on it, and how much is it? Great. When's it coming? And they're like, wait. I was listening to a designer the other day. It was so funny. She said something, and she goes, my heck, we've landed on the moon, but we can't order online. This is ridiculous. And, this
It's so
designer is
true,
just,
though.
I just want what I want when I want it. And I'm thinking, yeah, just swipe right. You got yourself a date or what.
Yeah,
We just
yeah.
live in that environment. And so yeah, I mean, we definitely facilitate that. And it really doesn't matter the size of the shop. We can facilitate, them being able to capture those orders well, process those without, and scale it. That was one of the things the private equity company asked us too. They said, "What other companies are running Almoxy?" So well, why? Because I know I can scale it. They're genuinely hungry in buying a company running a system similar because they saw the scale value, and so that's it, it just makes a difference. It's fun. But to your point, yeah, closet parts, all those kinds of things is
Oh
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, I don't think people realize how much of a barrier it is for someone to not get instant pricing and like just like instant feedback and instant click a button and it's over. Like
Yep.
if there's, it seems like such a small hurdle to like send in a form or wait 24 hours to get an email back. In this day and age, that is such a huge barrier.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not even
It's
funny.
well, we're getting to a point in our society where it's seen as ridiculous to
Mm-hmm.
some degree. Like what? And so yeah, it really is. We live in such an instant society, and it's going to become even more so,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
especially as all these AI tools hit.
Right. Well, and shop owners are getting younger, second generations, third generations taking over.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
Yep.
it's
And
interesting.
I'm actually, interestingly enough, Nick, I'm seeing a really powerful adoption from even the older generation. They've been fantastic at saying, "Yeah, this is a thing. I get it." And then they'll grab the kid next to him and say, "Hey, will you implement this for me?" Uh, and I'm seeing that happen a lot, which is really fun. And they're
That's
recognizing,
good.
"Hey, I'm gonna have to exit this at some point. Come on over here, smart kid, and you guys understand this. Make it happen." Uh, so it's really motivating to see that happening.
Yeah, that's good to see that that resistance to those things is lowering because
Yep.
such powerful things to do for your business. What are the next big things outside of AI? Some of the things you can't necessarily talk about today.
Yeah.
Where do you see Almoxy in 3 years, 5 years?
That is a really good question. I can say this. I can say that Almoxy wants to be and will be a part of every shop uh, in this industry in a way where we're implementing these systems to be able to stress less, be more. And automate the things that are not fun, that don't make sense, that do make people have to wait, and eliminate those processes. So we see ourselves fitting everybody, um, and and harnessing AI fully in every way as possible. And there's a lot of, like I said, I probably am not going to peek under the hood right now, but there's tremendously exciting things happening to make that work.
Well, we'll schedule our 1 year follow up here when we're done, and we'll
Perfect. That would be great timing.
see. It'd be awesome. Yeah, see how far it's come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds
awesome.
good.
Um, where do people find you if they're interested?
Yeah, allmoxy.com. Allmoxy.com, and there's for anybody interested in selling their products online, just book a demo. They'll end up with one of the sales group. We again, for us, this is a farming operation, and I mean what I mean by that is, we love to spend time with you, understand your needs specifically with your business, and we custom tailor it to that. So, yeah, just book a demo. We'll hop on with you, analyze that together, make sure that the fits appropriately, um, uh, and then we go from there. So yeah, almoxy.com is the spot. That's where to go.
Great.
Yeah,
Well, I hope people take you up on that. I personally have seen
thank you,
firsthand it in facilities and working, and um, I think it's great what you're doing. So I'm glad to see it's going
thank you.
well.
I
Yeah, it's
appreciate
awesome,
it.
man.
It's super pumped seeing your success too. It's just
Thank
incredible
you,
to
man.
watch. Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
well respected in the industry without a doubt, and
Thank you,
and
Bobby.
it's awesome to watch.
Yeah, you too, man. Well, this has been great. Thank you for joining me. I'm sure we'll
Honored.
see you in
Yep,
Vegas here in a few weeks, and
you bet.
we'll chat there, man.
Okay, that sounds
Yeah.
good, Nick.
See you,
All
Bobby.
right, Mike. Bye bye.